Alright, Miles, I'll catch you later, my friend Sean tells me as he stands up from his seat when the bus pulls up to a stop. I'll see you tomorrow, I reply, dreading the fact that now I'll be the only person still left on the bus. I don't really know why, but I've always hated being the last one to get off of the school bus. And ever since my family moved here 8 months ago and I started my junior year in high school, I'm always the first one to get picked up in the mornings, and then the very last one to get dropped off in the afternoons. It's only about a 10-minute drive from Sean's bus stop to mine, but there's just something about the awkward silence when it's only me and the driver left alone on the bus together that really bugs me. I always feel weird, like I should say something, but I never really know what to say, so I just sit there in my seat and act like I'm texting on my phone or something. Don't get me wrong, my bus driver Mr. Kirby is pretty cool. At first, we never really talked. He'd say good morning when I'd get on the bus, and have a good day when I got off. But other than that, there was really never any conversation between the two of us. Until one day, he had dropped everyone else off, and then he just started asking me a bunch of questions, trying to get to know me, asking my name and what kinds of things I'm interested in and whatnot. And every day since then, we've talked for the 10 minutes or so in the morning and afternoon that it was just the two of us on the bus. But Mr. Kirby hasn't been here for over a week now, and I heard that he's going to be gone for the rest of the school year because he's at home recovering from open heart surgery. So we've had a few different substitute drivers already. It's usually the same couple of them that take turns, but today there's some new guy driving the bus. This is the first time I've ever seen him, and I'm pretty sure that he isn't the same driver we had this morning. Once Sean exits the bus, immediately I pull out my phone, stare at it attentively, and pretend to be texting someone so that this guy doesn't feel obligated to strike up a conversation just because we're the only ones here. Then I get so distracted doing that I don't even realize it when he drives right past my stop. When I do finally glance up and notice, I stand up and tell him as I point out the window, "Hey, excuse me, sir, but you just passed my stop. It was back there a few blocks." He apologizes and then looks down at the watch on his wrist. "I have to go pick up my daughter, and I'm already running late. Do you mind if I just swing back around and drop you off after?" "It's no problem. You can just let me off here and I'll walk." "Oh no, I'm not allowed to do that. It's against policy. I could get into a lot of trouble for dropping you off somewhere other than your designated bus stop. If anything ended up happening to you, then I'd get fired, and I really need this job." I want to ask him, "Hey, isn't picking up your kid while you're supposed to be working against policy too?" Because I'm pretty sure that it is. But instead, I just keep the thought to myself because I don't want to piss the guy off. He could be some nutcase for all I know. So instead I ask, "Well, how long do you think it'll take? My mom's expecting me home soon." "Maybe 35 minutes tops to pick her up and then swing back around to your stop." "Alright then," I reply as I sit back down in my seat and start typing a text to my mom. I let her know that I'm going to be arriving home a little later than usual. I don't go into details why, I just tell her that the bus is running late. About 30 seconds later, she replies back, telling me that it's not a problem. She says she won't be home for another couple of hours anyway because she volunteered to cover another shift for someone who called out sick. Then she sends me another message right after, saying to make sure that I get all of my homework done before playing any video games or watching TV. Just as I'm about to reply, a weird feeling comes over me, causing the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck to stand on end. I start to get the feeling like I'm being watched, and as soon as I glance up, my eyes meet the bus driver's in his rearview mirror. He's staring right at me through his giant spectacles, and when he sees that I've caught him gawking, he gives them a slight nudge, pushing them from the tip of his nose up onto the bridge. "Is everything all right?" he questions. I nod my head nonchalantly. "Yeah, everything's fine." I quickly respond to my mother's previous message and then ask her if I should just eat some of the leftover lasagna that we had last night for dinner. She replies, "I can bring something home if you want. What about pizza?" I'm kind of tired of pizza. How about Chinese instead? She agrees and says that she'll see me soon. Just as I'm about to send one last text telling her that I love her, just like I always do at the end of every phone call or when we're texting back and forth, my phone suddenly dies. God damn it, I whisper aloud. Of course, something like this would happen to me. I hate not being somewhere that I can charge my phone whenever I need to. If the bus driver would have just been paying attention and dropped me off when and where he was supposed to, then none of this would even be happening right now. Typically, I don't ever let my phone battery get low enough where it has to alert me that the phone is going to die soon. But my girlfriend Alexis and I got into a huge argument last night when she found out that I went to a party and got drunk with a bunch of other girls there. She broke up with me through a text and then wouldn't answer any of my calls or texts. And when I got home, I fell asleep and forgot to charge my phone. Then when she wasn't at school today, I spent the entire day sending her texts and calling her, trying to apologize for all of the horrible things that I said and did in my drunken stupor, which is why my battery was so low in the first place. But she still hasn't responded back to me. I let out a sigh and look up to find the driver staring at me again. "Are we almost there?" I questioned, purposely sounding annoyed. Yes, we are," he answers, as a creepy smile spreads across his face, reaching from ear to ear. What is up with this dude? What a freaking weirdo. I lie my head back on the seat and close my eyes for just a minute. But when I open them, I realize that I must have been a little more tired than I thought and dozed off, because the man is still driving the bus. There's no sign of his daughter that he told me we were going to pick up, and now the sun is starting to go down. I can't be certain since my phone has died, but since we just recently set the clocks back due to daylight savings time, I know it must be like almost 5 o'clock, and there's absolutely no reason, late or not, that I shouldn't already be home by now. My heart starts to beat a mile a minute as I realize something is definitely not right. I bolt up out of my seat. "Where the hell are you going?" I shout at him, but he doesn't bother to respond. He won't even look at me. He looks like a puppet sitting there as his eyes remain fixated on the road ahead. I yell again. "I said, where are you taking me?" As I peer out the windows at the terrain we're passing by, all I can see are cornfields, like we're in the middle of nowhere. Then the bus begins, bouncing back and forth as we turn and start driving down a long dirt road. Wherever we are headed seems to be very isolated. As I stare out the front windshield, the road we are driving down looks never-ending, and it's surrounded by nothing but the endless cornfields on both sides for as far as I can see. I lean down to pick up my cell phone from my seat and desperately try to turn it back on, hoping that it has just the tiniest bit of battery power left so that I can make at least one phone call. But to my dismay, the low battery symbol just keeps flashing on the screen. I shove it into the pocket of my jeans as a nervous and uneasy feeling start to overwhelm me. Nothing but horrible thoughts begin running through my mind because I know that whatever is about to go down can't be good. No one in their right mind takes a teenage boy that they don't even know to a secluded area for anything good to happen. "Hey, mister, I asked you a goddamn question. Where are you going?" I shout again, this time in a more assertive tone to let him know that I'm not playing around. After waiting a moment for a reply and still not getting one, I scream at him, threatening to call the cops if he doesn't let me off of the bus right this second. But all I get in return is an arrogant smirk, and that's when I tell him that I've already contacted my mother and told her what's going on, so she probably already called them anyway. When that story doesn't seem to faze him, I start to get really scared, not knowing what is about to happen to me, but only imagining all of the worst-case scenarios. I wipe my sweaty palms off on the sides of my jeans as I glance around thinking, what on earth am I going to do? That's when my eyes come to rest on the emergency exit door in the back of the bus. Knowing that it's going to be my best chance at escaping, I grab my backpack from my seat and then take one last look at the driver, whose eyes are still intently focused on the road up ahead. But he just so happens to glance up at me as soon as I turn and dart to the back of the bus, lift the emergency door lever, then push the door open and jump out. I hit the ground and go rolling, then immediately hear the brakes squeal as the bus comes to a stop and then proceeds to start making a U-turn. I finally slow down enough so that I can manage to leap up, now slightly dizzy, but determined to get the hell away from this psychopath. Now that I'm on my feet, I take off running in the first direction that they take me. But no sooner do I think I've put a good amount of distance between me and him than I hear the bus come zooming up behind me. The headlights illuminate the dark road up ahead as he honks the horn, and the echo of it blares through the air. The bus gets so incredibly close that I fear his intentions are to run me over. Sweat is sliding down every single inch of my body as I literally run for my life. I manage to dodge the bus just as it speeds up, and right before it flattens me, I go leaping into the cornfields as it bolts past, but my little detour doesn't stop his chase. He turns the bus around and comes racing across the fields after me. I get up and continue running, the giant stalks of corn whipping me in the face as I run for what feels like forever, zigzagging through them until my legs start to cramp up, and then finally I just collapse. My eyes scan every inch of the fields that I'm able to see with the slight bit of moonlight shining in the now dark sky, desperately searching for somewhere to hide, but there isn't anywhere for me to go. The fields just go on and on for miles. Right at that moment, I just so happened to glance down at my watch, but realized rather quickly that just like my phone, the battery died a while ago, and I've been meaning to but never got around to changing it. The time has been stuck at 2:49 for months now, but I still wear it all of the time just for show because it was a birthday present from my dad. So now I have absolutely no way at all to tell what time it is or how much time has passed since this maniac kidnapped me and brought me here. As I lie there trying to catch my breath, the only sounds I can hear are crickets chirping, a slight howl every time that the wind blows, my heavy breathing, and the sound of the bus's engine as it comes racing through the cornfield towards me. Knowing that I'm not going to get out of the way in time, I lie down on the ground and flatten my body in the hopes that he'll drive right over me, and I breathe a sigh of relief when he does. For a second, I think he must not have seen me. But a moment later, when the bus comes to a stop, and then the door opens and he comes walking down the stairs and steps out into the field, pulling something from his coat pocket, I start to panic all over again. Knowing there is nowhere to run, I surrender, standing up and holding my hands in the air as he raises his gun and points it directly at me. I beg and plead, "Please, look, I don't know why you're doing this, but please just tell me what it is that you want." He takes a few steps toward me and replies, "All I want is to teach you a lesson, and in order to do that, I need you to run." I look at him confused. Then he points the gun up in the air, lets off a shot, and screams, "I said run!" So I turn and go bolting as fast as I possibly can through the cornfields, meandering back and forth, making it more difficult for him to hit me. As he shoots at me, I manage to dodge the bullets, but can hear them every time one goes whizzing past me and then disappears into the surrounding darkness. Then suddenly, I don't hear them anymore, and I start to think that he must have run out of bullets. But just as I turn around and glance back behind me to see what he's doing, I hear the gun go off again, and then another bullet comes speeding toward me, and now I realize that he must have just been reloading. As I go darting through the corn stalks even faster, I spot something in the distance. A tall, silver, cylindrical tower-looking building. So I start running toward it, and the closer that I get to it is when I notice that it's a silo. I pick up speed, hoping that once I reach it, I'll find some kind of tool or anything that I can use to fight this guy off with, because the only thing I've got is what's in my backpack, which is only a couple of books and notebooks. Wait, shit, my backpack. I must have dropped it when I jumped out of the bus. Whatever, I guess it doesn't really matter. It wouldn't be much help to me in this situation anyway. Finally, the entire silo comes into view, and I race toward it as another gunshot rings out somewhere behind me. But I'm too terrified to turn around and see how close he is. Just as I reach the galvanized spiral access ladder that winds around the building leading up to the top, I grip a hold of the railing on the side and begin to climb. Then he lets off another couple of shots, and I swear they all whiz right past me, hitting the building. But when I feel a sharp pain in my leg and glance down, only to find blood seeping through the bottom of my pant leg, I know that one of them must have hit me. I lose my balance for a second when I try to take another step. But when I hear him now ascending the stairs, I grip a hold of the railing once again, gather every ounce of strength that I can muster, and then force myself to climb as fast as I can up to the top. But just as I reach it, I hear his footsteps speed up. He must be running now in order to catch up with me. And then, as I open the door on top, position myself on the ladder and begin to climb down inside, another bullet hits me, this time in the back, and after managing to take a few more steps down the ladder, my grip loosens and I go tumbling down inside and land on top of a massive pile of corn. As I lie there, gasping for air and choking on my own blood, barely able to breathe, I see him descending the ladder, and all I can think is that this shit is crazy, because never in a million years is this the way I imagined I'd die. Then thoughts of my mom start racing through my mind. I see her coming home from work and going up to my room to tell me that it's time for dinner, but I won't be there. Then as he finally reaches me, he gives me a kick to the stomach and then menacingly stands above me, holding the gun up and aiming it right at my head. "Now you're going to pay for what you did to my little girl," he scoffs as a malevolent grin appears on his face. "Your little girl? I don't understand." "I'm Alexis's father." As soon as he says that, I remember that she did mention once that her dad was a bus driver, but we'd only been dating a few months and hadn't gotten around to meeting each other's family yet. What does this have to do with Alexis? "I know what you did to her, how you embarrassed her by sending those nude pictures around to everyone in school." "No, I swear that wasn't me." "You're a liar," he bellows angrily. I put my hands up in front of my face and confess, Okay, I'm sorry. She broke up with me and I wanted to get back at her. I was drunk. I didn't realize what I was doing until it was too late. I know I screwed up." "No, you did much more than that. You ruined her life and mine too. She killed herself last night after her friends told her what you did. How you sent her pictures to all of your friends at the party. Her mother tried to comfort her all night long. I was too enraged and disappointed to even speak to her. But feeling better about it in the morning, I went to tell her that everything was going to be okay and that we'd all get through this together. And that's when I found her dead. She had hung herself. Since I missed my opportunity to comfort her and do right by her due to my own stubbornness, this is the only other way I could think of how to make things right now." "Wait, she's dead?" I ask in shock, not wanting to believe it. Then I think back to how I've been texting and calling her all day today, and I thought she was just mad at me and still ignoring me. But now I know why she didn't respond. All of my fight or flight instincts pulsing through my body disappear as I'm now seeing the results of my actions and realize that there's no talking my way out of this. Then he lifts the gun up, once again aiming it at my head, and is just about to pull the trigger, as the last thought that crosses my mind is how only moments ago I thought he was just some lunatic, and how I don't deserve this. But being in a life and death situation, I've come to realize that everyone's not always as innocent as they think they are. Don't forget to subscribe for new stories weekly. See you next time on
Nina's Nightmares.
Really? You're supposed to click the like button, not me. Ugh.